Hello there friends and welcome! For today's Pathfinder guide we are at long last updating our companion story party member builds, as I do think this is close enough to the final version of the game. And we'll be going with Seelah, the first companion you meet, as a true heavy armor tank build, with full plates, long swords and shields, the classic tank style she's meant to be. And our newly updated Seelah will of course excel at enormous amounts of armor class, especially because of the new Mythic Heavy Armor focus feats, so that you'll have higher than 100 AC, which is of course much higher during actual combat, for around 130 even, and you can go higher of course. And the end result is simple: your Seelah will be the ultimate tank no matter which point you're at in the game, the very beginning, middle game, or even the end game against the toughest enemies, all on unfair mode of course. Plus enormous saving throws to resist any enemy spell. And this Seelah will also be the best of both worlds, as she'll have good enough melee potential, with support for the ultimate Holy Avenger Paladin special weapon in the game. So without further ado, let us get into our final patch, Ultimate Armor Tank Seelah build. Seelah comes at level 1 with 1 Paladin level, which is great of course for maximum customization. Plus, she already starts with dodge and the shield focus feats, both of which are amazing for tanking potential, so nothing is wasted on her. For the second level, however, we still want the classic witch dip. Nothing will provide as high AC bonuses as one level of witch, especially for a full armor tank character. Plus, you know, witches in this setting can be good aligned and forces of good, so I don't think it clashes with Seelah. Ideally, Stigmatized Witch, because it's the one based on Charisma, the main stat for a Paladin. Also, amusingly enough, this will open you up for the Dragon Disciple Prestige class, as Stigmatized Witches are spontaneous arcane casters, which is very fun. First, because I've never done Dragon Disciple before. Second, it does provide you with extra bonuses to AC and also Strength. So amazing for our full armor tank. For more skills, go with Use Magic Device. Great because later we need Seelah to cast at least one spell from a scroll for more buffing potential, but also, you know, to heal allies, even revive them if needed. Followed by Mobility, and the last point should go into Athletics because of high strength, and to avoid a few spells based on Athletics checks. Anyways, the benefits of one level into which start now. First with the Lizard Familiar for a +1 stacking bonus to natural AC, followed by the Ice Plant Hacks, which is double that, also stacking to natural AC, so now we already have a +3. When combined with the Icy Protector Ring you can find as early as Chapter 1, we'll now have a +5 stacking bonus to AC from just one level of Witch. Once again, nothing is so good for the early game anyways, when you need AC the most, because you won't have other buffs and abilities to make up for that, especially for unfair. For your Witch Curse, it can be anything but ideally Plagued. Immunity to Sickened is good enough, and the penalty to disease saving throws doesn't matter because as a Paladin you'll soon become immune to diseases anyways. For the Witch spells, the most important one is Mage Armor. Later we'll be picking Archmage Armor, which makes our armor tank even tankier. And early on this is amazing for buffing pets or other allies that aren't wearing armor. The second spell can be whatever you want, might as well go with Cure Light Wounds, so you can always have healing out of battle on demand to spare potions early game. After the Witch Dip you can either return to Paladin, or multiclass again, which is my preferred pick for maximum tanking potential even early. And for that we'll be going with Monk and Traditional Monk. Seelah is lawful aligned, so she can enter Monk just fine. As for why Traditional, well, you have higher bonuses to all saving throws than any other Monk, with even just one level, as to help your Seelah also resist enemy crowd control effects and debuffs. There is no point into picking Scaled Fist for the Charisma to AC ability, because you know the whole point of the build is to go with heavy armor. And of course you also won't benefit from Flurry of Blows. But Monk does let you qualify for the highly useful Crane style feat even early, which reduces the penalties from fighting defensively, which is always turned on for Seelah, especially early, and even provides additional AC. Plus, it makes athletics and mobility into class skills. Now, for more skills, you just need 3 ranks of mobility for higher bonuses to AC when fighting defensively. Besides that, it's all out into athletics and use magic device. Then for our level 3 feat, armor focus into heavy armor, which will become even better later to mythic heavy armor focus. And of course, monks do let you pick crane style. Sadly, crane wing won't really work because you have a shield equipped. Although you can remove the shield if you want. It's not necessary, however. After that, definitely return into Paladin for all the nice bonuses we are yet to pick. For level 4, you have 2 options. Either increase Strength, which works for both damage attack rolls, also armor class later, or Charisma, which I prefer because it has better synergy with the ultimate Paladin abilities. Smite Evil, and most importantly Mark of Justice, which is that for the whole party. So I'd rather increase Charisma now and on all the other levels. Once you get 3 ranks into mobility, you won't have to increase it anymore. So just keep to athletics, use magic device, and start increasing knowledge arcana because you need it to qualify for Dragon Disciple later, but only 5 points into it. Which you can of course delay for later if you want. For level 5, it is time to get into Outflank at last, as I want the Seelah to be good at both melee and tanking. For the first mercy, go with Fatigued, which is very annoying to remove early, outside of resting. For level 7, what we want is Boon Companion because this is when we'll get the Horse spat. Even if you don't need the horse for tanking with the Seelah build, it is still amazing and much better than Divine Weapon Bond, which would only buff your weapons with a few abilities. The horse, on the other hand, it's almost like having an entire extra party member. It can absorb hits for, let's say, an off-tank, and even deals damage, provides more attacks through outflank it will also have. It's a much more efficient option. Just remember, you don't want your Seelah to ride the horse, because her AC is what you want the enemies to target. Anyways, to get Boon Companion now, first pick whatever feat, it doesn't matter, like let's say Alertness, then grab the Animal Companion and the Horse. After that, return to the feat selection in the same level up. And since you actually have the horse now through a feat, you can pick Boon Companion just fine. The reason is simple, we have multi-class levels, which means the horse won't fully scale to our levels otherwise. With Boon Companion, however, it will until the late levels. For the second mercy at level 8, go with Diseased, also annoying to remove early. For our level 9 feat, it's time to get into Improved Critical. And I'll be blunt, the best weapon choice, gameplay-wise anyways, is definitely Scimitar, as they have the highest critical range, which means more free party member attacks throughout flank. Thematically though, long swords are the best option for Seelah, especially as the Paladin unique weapon is a long sword, so I'll be picking that. Once you get 5 ranks into Knowledge Arcana, you can start increasing anything else, besides athletics, and use magic device, or just keep to more arcana levels. For level 11, what we want is Improved Initiative. We don't really want Seelah to get caught flat-footed, for less AC in the first round of battle, plus of course we'll soon be acquiring Mark of Justice, and well, the sooner Seelah is smiting enemies, the better for party-wide benefits. And for another mercy, either Confused or Cursed, both of which are annoying effects to remove through spells. For the level 13 feat, we already have the best defensive ones by now. As I said, Crane Wing won't really work if you have a shield equipped. So you might as well get more melee focused feats to enhance your martial side. Starting with weapon focus into your weapon of choice like long swords. From level 14 onwards, it is much better to multiclass our Seelah again because we already have the strongest paladin feature, Mark of Justice. And honestly, delaying it from level 11 as a pure paladin to 13 doesn't matter that much, because at chapter 3 you have so many ways of getting experience, just the Winter Sun area alone provides you with what, 1.5 levels. It's quite fast. Anyways, you have 2 options for multiclassing. You'll actually get both, the only difference is the order you'll be picking them. You can go with Fighter and the classic Mutation Warrior, which of course provides you with bonus feats, most importantly the mutagen, and you want Strength, For double AC bonuses from higher strength when combined with the Mythic Heavy Armor feat, and of course higher stacking natural AC. Or you can already get started into our very fun Dragon Disciple Prestige class. The benefits are kinda almost the same as with Mutation Warrior, so you'll have higher stacking natural bonuses to AC, and of course also higher strength. It even continues your Witch spellcasting progression, which doesn't matter that much. Anyways, just pick the one you prefer first. Either 3 levels of Mutation Warrior now, and 4 into Dragon Disciple later, or reverse the order. Dragon Disciple does offer more stat bonuses earlier, but not as many feats. But since I've never done it before, I'll be picking it first. For the Dragon Bloodline, any can work because they have the same feat selection for bonus feats, but ideally for Seelah thematically anyways, any metallic dragon like Gold Dragon because they are the good aligned dragons. For another feat at level 15, we might as well get Shatter Defenses because we have the feats to spare with our Seelah. So first Dazzling Display and later Shatter Defenses, and by the way, if you went to Fighter and Mutation Warrior, the only difference is you'll get this earlier, through the Fighter bonus feats. For the Dragon Bloodline feat selection, just go with Power Attack, as at this point your Seelah has enough bonuses to attack rolls to make the extra damage really worth it. Oh, and you'll even get an extra Dragon Bite attack, which is nice for more melee attacks per round. And you can go with any other level 1 Witch spell at level 16 through Dragon Disciple. As for level 17, it's time for Shatter Defenses, as I mentioned before, followed by the False Life spell as Switch for more temporary HP, plus of course higher strength and natural AC from Dragon Disciple. And after 4 levels of it, it's time to finally get into Fighter Mutation Warrior. The feats can be whatever you want. You can grab, let's say, Cleave and Cleaving Finish for 1 more attack, but since we are more of a tank character, I'll just go with Combat Reflexes first. After that, I would just go for Toughness, not really necessary for a tank, but it's fun, followed by Blind Fight. Now let us cover Mythic Progression for our heavy armor tank Seelah. For Mythic level 1, the choice is very simple. Last Stand, nothing is better for a tank build. With this and high AC, your Seelah will never ever die. After that, it's time for the new Mythic Armor Focus into heavy armor, and you want Avoidance. This will let you add half your strength bonus to AC instead of dexterity, and is uncapped. And through all sorts of buffs you have, especially the bonuses from Dragon Disciple, you can achieve a very good strength bonus, up to plus 20 even, which means plus 10 AC to your heavy armor Seelah. For Mythic level 3, ever ready so that our Seelah is also good at attacking and not just tanking. For Mythic 4, you have a few options. You can grab Mythic Critical into your weapon of choice, or if you want more tanking, Mythic Dodge is the way to go. I wouldn't bother with the other Mythic Armor focus, like Endurance for higher damage reduction, because tanking with AC is vastly better, especially on Unfair. I prefer Dodge now for higher tanking potential. For Mythic level 5, you also have a few options. Abundant Smite is a pick here, as you already have Mark of Justice, so your smites will be at full power. But something very fun at this point is Master Shapeshifter. By this point, your caster should already be able to scribe the Frightful Aspect spell, which is amazing for tanking with Seelah, so you can use it from scrolls. Just pick the one you prefer, either Master Shapeshifter or Abundant Smite. The other will be delayed for Mythic level 9. For Mythic 6, it's time for Mythic Critical and your weapon of choice. For Mythic 7, the best pick is Archmage Armor, and the reason is simple. At this point, your Mage Armor from the Witch spellbook will provide you with 11 bonus to AC, and it only gets better with higher Mythic ranks. Meanwhile, a Suit of Full Plate will only provide a plus 9 to AC, but the best part is you can combine both, so you'll have the highest bonus to normal AC and then still benefit from Mythic Heavy Armor Avoidance, plus of course the armor enhancement value, which you wouldn't get with a robe or a shirt. So it's the best of both worlds. For Mythic level 8, you might as well go with Mythic Initiative, just in time for the Demon Lord battles, to smite them as soon as possible. Mythic level 9 can be anything, but either Abundant Smite or Master Shapeshifter, as I mentioned before. You can even pick Mythical Beast if you want. Now, before getting into the gear section, let's just cover how to play as our tank Seelah, especially early on. I don't think I need to explain this, but of course you'll want her to be buffed, especially with Bark Skin, and also the Shield of Faith spell early. And as far as the other buffs, well, I already have a guide you can check on how to maximize defenses. Anyways, as Seelah will be our main tank, ideally, you'll first want to have her start ahead of the rest of your party, in party formation. This way, chances are the enemies will focus on her first. You can leave your pets at the back because they tend to have higher movement speed, and you want Seelah to reach the enemies first. Second, you'll always want to turn fighting defensively on for higher bonuses to armor class, especially useful early. The same for Crane style if you went for the Monk multiclass. Last but not least, if you're playing on Unfair, it's absolutely important to have the Protective Luck hacks precast on Seelah before battle starts. After all, it has infinite uses. You can use it from Camellia or Ember as story party members. Protective Luck starts with low duration, 6 seconds only, but it's enough to start battle and take the first round of attacks. And you can also keep Ember or Camellia constantly casting it on Seelah during battle, but later you can improve the duration by virtue of higher Shaman or Witch levels. Then you can start battle, of course. By forcing enemies to roll twice, you can of course prevent them from rolling a 20, which would be an automatic hit, or rolling high early on, which is especially useful for the first round of battle, assuming your Seelah gets caught flat-footed. And of course, a party member with reach and big two-handed weapons will be your best friend, because you can then just attack the enemies behind Seelah as your tank. So that even on Unfair, you'll have a good enough time. And don't forget, before you start battle, remove Seelah's armor, also shield, so she can cast her Witch Mage armor on allies, especially pets, and of course on herself after you get Archmage armor. You can also use this to heal allies after battle, not during battle, because of course you'll want your armor equipped for that, and will incur in arcane spell failure. Now let us cover gear for our ultimate armor tank Seelah build. For the amulet slot, ultimately, something really good is the new Heartstone of the Night Hag Queen for the huge bonus to natural AC, +7, which is +2 above the normal +5. This is much better on a spellcaster, however, by virtue of increasing the DC of spells. And since it is chapter 5 only, you might prefer going with the Voracious Spirit Amulet from Camellia's last personal quest, as it can also enhance your AC by stacking amounts whenever killing enemies. Earlier, I would just go with amulets that increase initiative, so Seelah can smite enemies as soon as possible. For armor, ultimately we have the Living Fortress, the new best heavy armor, as it provides a very rare property of reducing damage by a percentage amount. I don't think anything else in the game has this. But you might as well prefer to go with the Flowing Half Plate you can buy at chapter 4 in the market, as it does provide unique benefits like a +5 bonus to reflex saving throws, and most importantly, the evasion feature. As our Seelah has super high saving throws, this will also essentially eliminate almost any spell damage you'll take. And the lower base AC when compared to a full plate won't matter because your normal AC will already be enhanced by Mythic Mage Armor anyways. As far as chapter 1 to chapter 3, any full plate heavy armors really, for the highest AC possible. Just don't go with Mithril full plates because they count as medium armor instead. For shirts and robes, they don't matter that much. You might as well go with the Cloth of Heavy Fortification, which provides 75% chance of negating critical hits and sneak attacks. But it's already an innate property of the Living Fortress full plate we just covered, so better when combined with the Flowing Half Plate. For belts, early belts that increase strength, ultimately for chapter 4+. The Lizard Tail belt, as always the best belt for any tank. Nothing will provide as high bonuses to AC like this, plus 3 morale to AC, and even plus 8 circumstance during the first round of combat. Which is enough because by this point battles will be over in 1 or 2 rounds max. And being polymorphed is no concern for our Seelah because, well, we do have high use magic device to use scrolls like Frightful Aspect. For gloves, ultimately the embroidered gloves as always, which are the best for this lot due to the huge luck bonus to both AC and all saving throws. This is chapter 5 only, however. Before that you can go with anything you want. For boots, Ronak Sacrifice is definitely the best for any tank, even if you aren't focused on dexterity, but higher dexterity still helps with higher initiative to smite enemies. It's just that doubling haste bonuses to AC is really good for a tank. For helmet, ultimately Shy Lilies, for both the huge profane bonuses to AC and strength, which of course means even more AC to our Seelah, as Mythic Heavy Armor focus will increase your AC based on your strength. And earlier from chapter 3 until you find Shy Lily, you might as well go for the Helmet of Camaraderie, as the morale bonus to AC is really good. For glasses and masks, it's all about the broken Trickster glasses from chapter 3 onwards, as it will provide a huge bonus to your charisma, which you need as a paladin for higher smite potential, and well, just happens to have a good enough secondary tanking property. And it frees the helmet slot for something else that doesn't enhance charisma. For cloaks, early on cloaks of resistance with the highest modifier, but ultimately the new Grand Festival cloak, as it also increases your charisma by circumstance. For the tastiest smites. For rings, Icy Protector is the must-have, as it's what makes the Witch dip so powerful, and well, you can find it as early as chapter 1 in the tavern, followed by the Righteous Crusader ring to increase your smite uses. It's not that necessary later on, however, especially after you get Abundant Smite. And well, there's as always the Ring of Triumphant Advance to double morale bonuses to AC, damage and attack rolls with Seelah, especially AC, from the Helmet of Camaraderie or Lizard Tail. It's just that I imagine you prefer that on the main character, but you can use it on Seelah if you want. The same for the classic 7 Virtues of a True Ruler, mostly for its unique ability to provide you with the Cemental spell buff, so you won't have to rely on spells for that. And well, Cemental is plus 8 AC against most enemies. It's kinda overkill, however, and I imagine most players will prefer the belt variant or the ring on their main characters, just like the Triumphant Advance ring. Bracers don't really matter, I just have Bracers of Rough Landing here because at least it does something unique for tanking, plus 2 competence bonus to AC against flying enemies. And a lot of demons have wings. Now let us cover weapons and Quickslots. For weapons, I decided to go with Radiance. It's definitely the most thematic as it's the unique Paladin Holy Avenger longsword in the game. But it's not a particularly good weapon, I'm afraid, as the benefits aren't really that good compared to other weapons in the game, and most importantly, the classic Baldur's Gate 2 Holy Avenger Karsomir. But role-playing wise is definitely the most fitting for Seelah, and there are some other nice longswords in the game for paladins, like the Holy Devotee's Wrath you can buy at chapter 4, which does let you smite even neutral enemies instead of just evil. This helps mostly for the first DLC, Inevitable Access, as you do meet some neutral enemies there. But for the main game, 99% of them are evil. There's also Iron Prayer for chapter 3, from the Treasure of Midnight Isles DLC. And something else that's of note is the Hammer of Masterpiece, if only because it does come from Seelah's last personal quest. You aren't meant to attack with it, just for casting its special buff, which is really powerful. It will provide a plus 3 circumstance bonus to both attack and damage to any ally for 1 hour, and you don't need the hammer to remain equipped for that. Most importantly, if cast on pets, because they cannot equip any rings, they will instead be buffed with the strongest effects of them all, plus 2 additional attacks per round, something no other item in the game can do. Besides that, I decided to go with shields. There are a lot better heavy shields than tower shields, and the best one for our tank is the Assertion of Dominance, which provides immunity, that's 0 damage taken, against both slashing and piercing weapons while you are at full health, Something very easy for a tank build because, well, you have high saving throws, you have evasion, spells that reduce magic damage taken, and most importantly, a lot of temporary HP. And just in case you are wondering why not go with tower shields, well, unfortunately, because of the way they are coded in the game, as they all have a cap to your maximum dexterity modifier to AC. And since the Mythic Heavy Armor Focus bonus does count as dexterity despite the fact it comes from strength, this will actually tank your AC, so by just equipping a tower shield, we lost a lot of AC, as we are now just limited to a +2 from our Mythic Armor Focus. I don't think it's the way it's meant to work, but it's the way it's coded in the game, I'm afraid. Earlier during Chapter 3, you can go for the Guardian's Shield, which provides immunity to knockdown, and even an extra attack of opportunity. And there's of course also the Undying Love of the Hopebringer's Shield for Chapter 4, especially because of its unique light and dark aura abilities, but you can have that on another character. Ultimately, I'd much rather go with Assertion of Dominance. As far as Quickslots, the most important one is Arrogant's Wrath, as it will first change the AC bonus you get from Smite Evil to Sacred instead of Deflection. Much better because for Deflection you have a lot of other sources, Sacred is unique. And besides that, well, it will even increase SEELAH's first attack every round, with an additional 1d4 divine damage. Old Grimoire is also here because Paladins do have nice early level spells for more spell slots, especially Divine Favor for SEELAH, and later, Bestow Grace for any good aligned character with decent charisma for higher saving throws. And yes, this does work on SEELAH herself, which of course is amazing because it stacks with Paladin's Divine Grace. Besides that, just lesser Extend Rods to increase the duration of our Paladin buffs. I also have the Covenant of the Inheritor on SEELAH, but this is an aura so works on any other character. But it is one of the best items in the game to, well, allow your whole party to bypass Demon's physical resistance to damage. And don't forget the duality of Conjuration and Summoning, because it can provide you with a scroll that increases your smites permanently by a +1. Oh, and don't forget Scrolls of Frightful Aspect, because SEELAH does have high ranks into use magic device, and this is the best source of Polymorph to proc the extra bonus from Lizard Tail, the Master Shapeshifter bonus, and it even provides stacking natural AC, so it's a match made in heaven for any tank. Well, alright friends, so this was it for our final, fully up-to-date, heavy armor SEELAH tank build. If you found this guide useful as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.